Okay. I've experienced, when you talk about being in the vortex and your emotions, I have actually experienced the feeling of exhilaration on a couple of occasions where I've even had to pull the car over to the side of the road. It's just been flowing through me. I woke up one morning and in sheer joy and walked for about an hour along the beach, appreciating even the cracks in the concrete. It was amazing.
When something like that happens, what it means is you went to bed in the vortex, resistance-free, rendezvoused with the whole of who you are. And as you reawakened and reemerged back into your body, now that blending of that high vibration in the absence of resistance brought you into your wake state, soaring. Best way to wake up.
So my question is, I find it very, very easy to find a good feeling place. I'm in it now. I've been listening to you now for about 4 years, and I can sort of jump into that immediately. Am I in my vortex even though, and I'll quote your little statement, it doesn't feel like sunshine, lollipop and roses? Am I still in my vortex if it's just a steady well-being feeling?
Yes, because in the vortex, someone asked earlier, the differentiation for us. So in this vortex is this span of emotions that could go from satisfaction and well-being and a feeling of security is not the right word because it has the other end of it sometimes in it. Just that delicious feeling of well-being moving into love and joy and ecstasy. In other words, it's all in the vortex, but there are ranges of vibration even within the vortex, aren't there?
Yes.
So your vortex will keep moving and you'll keep redefining how good you want to feel, and you'll keep reaching for more. What we notice from our exposure to so many of you who are finding your way into the vortex, while it feels good sometimes to just settle into that feeling of well-being, you're happiest in your exhilaration. You're happiest. The higher vibration is that frisky feeling. In other words, it's a nice thing to meditate your resistance away and sit in that calmness of no resistance, but to connect to the energy that creates worlds and then focus it in some way that is meaningful to you, that's what feels the best. And so, but of course you couldn't keep that pitch all the time, could you? And so that's why we will say to you emphatically that just because you calm down and come into a feeling of love and satisfaction does not mean you've left the vortex.
Thank you. Is there a vibration for every topic, or is it a general well-being vibration that I'm looking for?
Well, let us say no, there is not a vibration for every topic. There are these vibrational set points that many topics come within. In other words, let's say a vibrational set point is one of worry. So there's the topic of money and the topic of children, the topic of health and the topic of, in other words, lots of different topics that all revolve around the feeling of worry. Just like there is the vibration of hope, but there could be the topic of money, the topic of love, the topic of success. In other words, the topics all find their vibrational place. In other words, technically every topic could have a place all along this emotional scale. The topic of money could be from exhilaration. The topic of money could be hope. The topic of money could be despair. The topic of money could be fear or depression. So the topic does not describe the vibration. The emotion does.
Okay. So with regards to, do I have to clean up every specific, okay, I'm floating
Good.
along.
No, you do not have to clean up every topic. What happens is, as you take any topic and take it into the vortex and practice the feeling of that, several other topics will come right in and get cleaned up at the same time. Also, what about taking this topic and working your way up the emotional scale, and this topic and working your way up the emotional scale? Before you know it, you see, here it is. You are what's moving up the emotional scale, not the topic. And when you're in the vortex choosing the topics, they all look different from inside the vortex. That was good.
So if I'm coasting along and, okay, something sets off a little negativity, I can just think about my fluffy pillow. Honestly, I don't mean to mock, but just get into that feeling of appreciation, find that well-being feeling, and that is enough. That is enough.
It is. Here's the way it works. Let's say that you have a real issue that you've kept active for a long time. It's possible that you could get into the vortex and get into the vortex and get into the vortex, and while you might soften it, you may not fix it completely. But if you can stay off the subject of it, then it won't take you out of the vortex. In other words, if you focus upon the things that feel good, you can be in the vortex chronically, consistently. Some people think, well, if I've got these issues, then don't I need to clean them up in order to be whole? And we say, no, you just need to deactivate them. But you can't deactivate something just by saying, I'm going to deactivate it. I'm not going to think about that anymore. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to think about that thing that I'm thinking about. But soon I'm going to stop thinking about that thing that I'm thinking about, because I don't want to think about that thing that I'm thinking about. But you're thinking about it, so you have to choose something else. So the best scenario is to eventually be able to find the other side of that, because that's who you are. All the time that you were thinking about that thing you didn't want, there was a solution-based vibration that was forming up for you. In other words, this conversation that we've had several times today, that while the problem is coming into focus, so is the solution. So you are the creator of your own reality, yes, but you are the creator of you. And that problem, maybe it was there a long time ago, maybe it's been bothering you for a long time. It is the reason for a huge solution, better said, a huge becoming. And so you want that becoming. You want that becoming. And the problem, bless the problem, because it's pointing out to you that you've become something that you're not letting yourself become yet. You see what we're getting at? It's not a matter of just ignoring the problem. It's about benefiting by what the problem created in terms of solution. So we've said a number of things to people over the time. Sometimes we say to someone who has an issue, just let it go. It's often a female who wants a relationship. And we say, just let it go. Focus on anything other than a relationship for a little while. Get a hobby, get a cat, get a job, learn a computer program. Do anything that you can do to distract yourself from the absence of this relationship. Because we know that she's created a relationship that's magnificent. If she'd just give it a rest, it would show up in her experience, you see. But on the other hand, as deliberate creators, it is so delicious to get creative control of your own experience by recognizing the negative emotion is pointing at something that you don't want, and being wise enough to know that that means there's something that you really do want that's already in formation, in vibrational formation for you. And it is so utterly fulfilling then to work yourself on that topic into the vortex. It's truly, truly, truly satisfying. For example, you know what you don't want, so you know what you do want. But what you don't want is more active. But you still want this, but what you don't want is more active. And it is so satisfying to start thinking more on that topic of what you do want until you start feeling the relief. And before you know it, you're in the vortex and this issue isn't bothering you. And then as things start showing up, you get to feel the creative part that you've played in the creation of that. It's like hands on the clay. It is so satisfying to deliberately think yourself into the vortex. But still, we say to a lot of people who every time they pick up that stick that says lover, or every time they pick up that stick that says financial well-being, they're so accustomed to vibrating on the out of the vortex, know what I don't want, absence of what I do want, end of the stick, that they just can't seem to get there from there. And so then we say to them, get off that topic and find any reason in the world that you can to get into the vortex, and the vortex will draw you in time and give you what you want in time. You just won't feel the creative control that you felt by deliberately changing the thought.
Thank you.
It's sort of you all are deliberate creators. You want to think yourself into alignment. It's the difference between wanting something and having some well-meaning person just come up and say, here it is, and you feel the relief that your problem has been solved because of their help, but it isn't nearly as deeply satisfying as if you sat with your problem and your solution was formulating, and you found a way to align with the emotion of well-being before the evidence was there, and then the evidence showed itself to you as your discovery. In other words, it is so satisfying when you let law of attraction be the delivery of the goods rather than some well-meaning person. You see what we're getting at?
Absolutely.
Deliberate creation is 1,000,000 times more satisfying than creation by default, even if you accidentally get something you wanted.
Thank you.